Hey, welcome everybody. Brian Silverman and I today are going to be taking, as we do all the time, a little discussion, a little back and forth of information that came from questions. We get questions every month, a couple hundred. And what we do is we just pull one out and then without any prep, really, and we do mention it to each other, but without any prep, we just dive in. So, Brian, the question for you today, if you decide to accept it, is what are things you do personally or work-wise that make, or you've seen other people do, that make the PS, grind, the journey, the career easier, more palatable, more fun, habits or techniques?
Yeah. And first of all, thanks for having me. I can tell you something that, and this is something that I try to impart on, particularly the younger folks who are getting started in this and can really get caught up in the hours, the sort of burying yourself right in work to the point where it's almost unhealthy. But there's this perspective that work harder, I'll be more valued. I always tell people, I'm going to keep giving you work until you tell me to stop. But you need to tell me to stop. There's something about boundaries, and you could let yourself get buried in, as I said, working more and doing more, especially if you're traveling.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that. One of the things along those lines that I was taught is that I'm responsible when you give me assignments to tell you I don't have time. I shouldn't feel burdened that I'm not that whatever you give me, it's if I don't fulfill it, if I don't do it, I'm going to be harmed. If in the beginning I say I don't have time.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I was getting to. There's two parts to that. One, there's a vacation, and I always tell people, you have vacation. I demand that you use it. You come to me, give me heads up, but I want you to use it. It's there for a reason. The other thing is, as you just said, I may ask you to do something, and it might be over and above or take extra time. And it's okay for you to say to me, Brian, I can't get to that this weekend. I have personal plans, or not even explain to me why you can't get to this weekend. Or you can tell me, I have so many things you've given me. Which thing do you not want me to do? And which thing do you do want me to do? And I always tell them, you need to be very comfortable. I'm okay with that. I expect you to tell me to stop when it's time to stop. And that's kind of how you get through the overburdened, overload work.
As long as they learn to keep it in balance between I do need to produce.
Yep.
Right. And that's a generational thing that we're not really dealing with on today. But also there are other things that I do personally. I'm a huge reader. I love to read. If I was retired, which will never happen because my wife could not take that much of me personally being in her space. But I read. So I travel and read, and I finish at least 2 books every week. So, but that is relaxing to me and gets me out of the concerns about the work, the concerns about that client, you can get out of yourself. So do you have anything like that you do as like a hobby or anything?
Well, something I do, I did it more back when the word arthritis had not entered my word and my back was able to hold up. I used to run a lot of marathons, and I used to make it my business to wherever I went to run in that city. If it was a city with some particularly sort of famous landmarks, like if I was in London, I would run across the London Bridge. If it's in Paris, I would make sure I ran around the Eiffel Tower. And it's easy to do that. It's easy to pack a pair of running shoes and go. And so like I said, I always had it on my agenda. The first morning I'm getting up and I'm running this route and I'm going to see the city. And that was something that sort of got me going and got me excited about going wherever it was I was going.
That's so funny that I know you know this, but a few years ago I had pancreatic cancer. For everybody listening, if you hadn't heard, I am the survivor, 1 in 100,000. So no complaints about that. But I was a runner before. I ran to pay for college. I ran and I love running. And I too have gone to places and said, where can I run here? I get my hotel so that it's close to running, even if it's not close to the client. But today I am very regulated on what the hospital system will allow me to do because I have blood sugar problems because I had pancreatic cancer. But yeah, running I do think is a cathartic thing that lets your body and mind heal.
Yeah, and I think the theme between what you talked about and the running thing or the reading thing is find something that gets you excited or makes you happy personally, and make that, overtly make that part of your agenda for when you go and travel. That you're going to get a chance to go see the Eiffel Tower, and so again, you're achieving something that makes you feel good. That's not about billing hours or implementing software.
Yeah, yeah, and it probably gets better ideas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we all need, and I read something about this just very recently. We need physical and mental breaks, and it's funny. The article said, alcohol is a mental break or drugs, and they said, but don't do those, right? It was great. It goes, don't do those. Do these things, right? It was really great. So, hey. Let's talk. Let's go back to the office a little bit, or the work side. I was thinking about, and I shared this with you earlier. One of a gentleman I worked for when I was very young, and had a young family and was traveling all the time, and I think I was actually complaining about the consultant's life, but he said, "Hey, you want this to work? Be efficient. Work on efficiency all the time." And now I find myself at this stage of my career meeting young consultants in the firm I built, and I'm always going, be efficient. And they go, what do you mean? And I said, like you said, it will eat you alive, right? Don't hesitate to start something. Just start it, right? Don't overwork it, right? Don't find out what's important for what's unimportant on a project, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I have a client right now that I'm doing some kind of board level advice with, and they're an engineering firm. And if you and I looked at the time they spend on different things compared to what a good PS group is, it's diametrically opposed.
Yeah.
Right? They don't want to get it done well. They just want to make sure that every item's checked on every list.
Right. And there's there's different sort of sayings. Don't let perfection get in the way of progress. There's a book I read a while back, and kind of and it was about part of it was about, like you just said, like get it out there. And the mantra was just publish, because they were talking about writing white papers and publishing things, and stop waiting for all the little things to be perfect. Publish. You publish. It gets out there, you get feedback, and you start a conversation. And so, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. I don't know if you knew Dave Maister. Dave Maister wrote the book, Managing the Professional Service Firm. Wonderful guy, and he and I did a lot of stuff together. And Dave's very much was, hey, write the chapter, get it out there, get feedback. Write the chapter, get it out there, get feedback. And that was his thing all the time. And he said, hey, some of the stuff I wrote when I first wrote it, I would never write today, right?
Yep.
But hey, it built my brand. It built so anyway.
Yeah, and the same. It's funny you say that. It's kind of how I've started viewing LinkedIn posts. Right. When I first was going to write a LinkedIn post, I read it over 30 times, and do I want to hit save? Do I want it? Now it's just come up with the thought. I jot it on some paper, make sure I'm telling the story in order, and you put it out there.
Yeah. And we'll kind of close on this, and then I'll get you to give us kind of your summary. And by the way, always wonderful to see you. Really brings joy in my life to spend time with you. But I was, we put out, as you know, because you see it every day, we put out something almost every day. And it's very much like, and these are very much like that. I just want to talk to you, and then we'll put it out. But the other day I saw one of my wife's relatives, very nice man, and he'll see this, very nice man. He goes, oh my God, Dean, you put stuff out every day. You're killing me. And I was like, well, you're not in my market. You're not, you're a wonderful guy, but you're not, I said, I'm part of a community. We're just sharing what we think. Yeah. Anyway, tell us, if you wanted one thing for us to remember, other than how cool you are, one thing that, and going to Paris, I like that, but one thing about making this life, more easy to deal with.
Yeah, and I think what you and I spoke about kind of falls under this this category of taking your personal life seriously, making boundaries count. Don't just say it, and make time for yourself to do those things that, as you just said, bring you joy, so that you're not, again, and especially when you travel, you're not just buried in work. Like, give your brain a break to say, I'm going to do some things that I enjoy and that I like. I'm going to do it for myself.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. And I think if we can keep that, and again, you can be efficient about it. Your example of running is a very efficient way to get work done. Hey, you went to Paris to do work. Hey, I ran some, I ran around the Seine or whatever. And
Yep.
I ran, the Louvre. You could
Exactly.
probably run all the way through the Louvre if they would let you. It's so big.
Now you
All
have to
right.
be careful because depending on where you are, I was in a small town in Germany and I went running and I got a little turned around and I couldn't find anybody who spoke English to kind of point me in the right direction. So you do need to sort of take out a map and know where you're going.
Well, nowadays, right? Nowadays we can put a pin in it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. I got lost in Baden-Baden once running, and my wife made fun of me, of course, because that's what we do. All right,
Yeah.
thanks so much. Great seeing you, everybody. And by the way, great post. Follow him. You're going to learn a lot of good stuff.